Hello, Peter. Great to see you. Always great to hear about the exciting things you're doing with LOS Global. I appreciate that we have a mutual friend, Amir, who has his process called Unique Business Contribution. And you recently worked with him, and I'd love to just pick your brain on like what made you say yes to working with him in the first place. Let's start with that question.
Sure, thanks, Daniel. And I think the big reason why we ended up working together and why I said yes was because of what he brought to what his messaging and understanding was of how to articulate uh, what I do or what anybody does in a way that is different, but that is easy to understand when somebody else reads it.
Yeah.
Probably the best way to frame that.
Sure. And the thing that I like about it is it I've seen his process go into a heavily commoditized world, which of course that's not your case. But
Yeah.
even if everybody's selling a widget that's exactly the same, he can help you create the who you're serving and the way you're serving them in a way that now my widget looks different than everybody else just because of the way I describe how my mission is not just to serve you as a vendor, but to go deeper and to help be part of your success journey in serving your customers and making their lives better.
Yeah, so looking at that whole value chain idea, it's not just, well, what's the pain point and what does my immediate client need/want, but is, well, what does their client customer need/want, and so on, so that you can actually better understand the entire value chain, because whatever you're doing with your immediate customer should have a positive effect down the entire value chain. And the more you can impact that at a more positive level and have a greater influence on it, helping your client improve that, better proposition.
Yeah, let's talk about that component of UBC, unique business contribution. How did that sort of change your mindset in how you describe what you do for your clients?
I think what the biggest thing was, well, it's having an understanding from where I'm coming from, that it's not just my immediate client first. So the moment you look at that is the impact that I'm going to have with my client, how is that going to impact them and their clients further? So how can I frame that in a way that speaks to a client beyond just, hey, Mr. Client, I'm going to help you solve your little immediate problem here. No, instead, it's going to say, Mr. Client, I'm going to help you solve this problem so that the impact you have with your clients is going to be improved. So however I figure out how to phrase that, and I think that's something that's going to be dynamic from what I understand from Amir, because the more clients I'll end up speaking to about their clients and seeing what impact comes out, the better I'm able to, over time, refine that portion of the contribution statement to have a much bigger impact.
Yeah, that's super helpful, and let's talk about that a little bit, right? So part of Amir's process, and it's really a process that shifts mindset.
Mm-hmm.
It equips you to see the problem, the challenge in a new way, right?
Yeah.
And it's dynamic in that as you're made aware of new things from feedback from your clients, it helps you to tighten up and adjust. Tighten up if you have greater understanding of the client from the feedback, and adjust if, say, the market starts shifting and the priorities of your clients start shifting. It lets you move with them, right? And anticipate what their future needs are going to be based on that. So kind of help me understand that process of how that mind shift worked through his process.
I guess that maybe that my impact is more far reaching. And I mean, I think everybody would like to assume that they have a far reaching impact. This puts it in a perspective of, I do have far reaching impact, but now I can go about being more intentional about how I deliver and the conversations I have with my immediate client to suss that out better. I'm now better able to, what's the word, adjust what I deliver, what my services deliver, that there is that, because it's going to have that impact, and being a lot more intentional about it. I think that's the shift that I'm seeing and working through.
Yeah. So the interesting part there, I get again, and I've seen, having watched Amir work with some amazing entrepreneurs like yourself, is to see that journey, right? I mean, it's almost like my experience in basic training, right? You've got to break down the things the pieces of how I think about this, then sort of show the model of, it's not so much this, it's more, this. And can you kind of talk through the actual, the challenge, where he challenged your thinking and helped break it down and show you kind of his concept, having first taken the time to deconstruct what most entrepreneurs are running on, right?
Right. So, initially I was sort of in my head, combination of fancy words that reflect the solution, that it reflects the impact that I can have, the changes that I can bring to the table. But when you deconstruct it down, well, let's take it down to almost the lowest common denominator. Now let's go down to first principles. What is the impact in very, very simple terms without all of the jargon stuff? And when I start looking at it that way, it's almost easier to articulate, because you're not having to try to keep a whole bunch of complicated, jargon in your head. It's easier to speak like you're just having more of a regular conversation. And that, for me, what it's doing is it's shifting how I'm able just to have conversations with people.
Yeah, I've seen that, and I love that aspect of it. One of the things that I kind of, as I was processing what he does, was, it's almost like when you're trying to sell to these entrepreneurs, right? This is the industry kind of response, and I think unique business contribution helps you sell through that entrepreneur.
Yes.
Down what, so that you're part of the success formula for delivering what matters, what they're doing beyond just that.
Yeah, and I think that it speaks to the ability to create more of a partnership with your client or clients, where you're partnering with them to provide solutions that are going to benefit their clients, which is going to benefit their business and so on. So you're not just somebody coming in to fix a problem, fucking very simplistically, you got the service guy coming in to fix the TV. No,
Transactional, right? Completely
it's
transactional.
less transactional as opposed to more collaborative solution, longer term solution focused, where I can take my experience and my know-how and really have an even bigger impact, because now I'm not just doing a transactional solution. I'm doing a process solution, if you will. I'm doing a deeper solution to solve a client's challenges, problems that they're facing, because it doesn't, their problems don't end with the immediate problem. Then they very rarely speak about, well, we're having these problems with our clients. We can't, and they might say we can't deliver properly. Okay, we've got to figure out how to deliver that better. But what's causing that? So you're going deeper and broader in some ways, as opposed to just looking at the surface.
Yeah.
And then look, I mean, I think, and therefore the wording, unique business contribution, what contribution am I, and with my company, we LOS Global, what contribution are we making? Can we make that is so much deeper? I think that's probably the best way to describe it. Contribution is a better word than, you talk about the USP, the unique selling proposition or the value proposition or something like that. But it's really about what are you contributing?
Yeah.
Because in the contribution lies the value.
I love that. Yeah, I think as I think through sort of my evolution of better understanding Amir and how he thinks and the deep research that's gone into this, it's before somebody knows UBC, they're like, oh, for example, I help organizations develop their middle management so that it can run more effectively, right?
Right.
Whereas now this is, it's not about the service you're providing to the company. It's I help companies top to bottom be aligned in delivering excellence for their customers.
Right, exactly.
It's not about you at all, right? You're not even there. I mean, I'm not talking about what you do. It's not the thing that you do that transforms their company. It's your focus in helping them be better at doing what they are focused on doing.
What they do, and therein lies the contribution, as opposed to not just the value, or merely just the value.
Right. And the thing, again, it's a bigger promise, and I think it also, when you make that promise of helping them deliver better for their clients, it's not just an opportunity to sell them one service, but now somewhere you've actually kind of integrated who you are into what they do and how they deliver, so that when they get stuck, you're one of the team members that they're calling to go, hey, Peter, you're really good at kind of working out this issue. I love how you've helped me do this for my client and do this for my client, and how you transformed this relationship between, a new boss and a really hotshot young leader. I'd love to bring you in to take a look at this, right? I've got another challenge and I need my solutions guy to be part of the conversation, right?
Exactly. Yeah. It comes back to what the meaning of the word contribution is, right? We're contributing to the success of someone else.
Awesome.
Not
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead.
Not, I was going to say, just not just about fixing something, but it's about contributing to what's important to them, and so on down the chain.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's not just limited to your customer's customer, but it really is looking at the impact being created, right? Like if you're serving an aviation company, it's not just about, their training programs, their pilot teams, their engineers. Um, it's about the families that are transported on those planes, how the tech problems mean safer flying for everyone, less delays, all of the things. It's yeah, it creates allies, right?
It speaks to the greater impact that I believe their companies want to be making or should, and if they're not, should be thinking about that they're having, right?
Yeah. Yeah, one last question. Let me ask you this. What are your general thoughts? Let's say there's an entrepreneur out there thinking about hiring Amir to better understand their unique business contribution. What feedback do you have for them?
Instead of breaking your head trying to figure out what your unique value proposition is and how to effectively get your voice to the market in a better way, sit down, really sit down with Amir because his approach is a little different and it opens up your own perspective from being, almost blinkered to a lot broader what the impact you can have beyond what you can potentially just see on the surface. And the moment you recognize that and you can speak to your customer in that way, I think you're going to have much more success in interacting with your clients because you are looking at their success with their clients and how you structure that. That's where Amir's gifting is. That's where what he has developed is so much more powerful than the classic sales and marketing stuff that's out there because it seems to be more transactionally orientated.
That's fantastic. And the other thing I think is, once your mindset has shifted and you see this, you can't unsee it, right? I mean, um, having gone through this mind shift, um, I can't imagine not incorporating it in everything I do from here on out. So it's not just a class you go through to solve the problem of today. It's it creates a dynamic where now, as soon as you get new feedback, you can see, oh, well, does that change my unique business contribution? And you can adjust it and start to move it in the way that keeps you connected. Would you say that's accurate?
Yeah, yeah. I think it keeps you connected at a level that makes you stand apart from the rest of the crowd out there vying for the same business.
Awesome. Any last thoughts? Any specific types of people that you think should kind of go through this process, get this mindset shift?
I think anybody really in the entrepreneurial space from a consulting perspective, anybody providing a service, not just a widget, but who who has an impact that they want to extend, that's one. Somebody who understands the value that business isn't about a transaction. It's more than a transaction. Those are the people really done before you get down the road too far and overthink things, have a conversation with Amir. It's going to help you do that a heck of a lot better. People who might be starting out and are taking something that they've been doing for a while and now want to go out on their own and are figuring out, oh, gee, how am I going to frame this? How am I going to structure the sales? How am I going to do all of that? Before you get bogged down with the stuff that everybody else is doing, have that conversation with Amir first because it's going to open your eyes.
Perfect.
And you're not going to be stuck with the preconceived notions and preconceived messaging that you've had as to how you should be doing it. So that'll make the process that you'd go through with Amir a heck of a lot easier, I think.
Awesome. Appreciate your time, Peter. And yeah, look forward to continuing to work with you and see how LOS Global leans into their unique business contribution and the changes it makes.
Absolutely. And looking forward, it's going to be a good journey.
Awesome. Take
Okay.
care.